Welcome back to Nerd Thug Radio.
Whoop, whoop.
Episode number 49. I am the Captain Joey Savage.
Corey DLG.
Nico DLG.
Nailed it. You're listening to us on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Siesta Stations.
And worldwide at
IRLoneStar.com.
And the podcast, you can find it at nerdthugradio.com or iTunes or Google Play.
Or Satchel.
Stitcher.
Stitcher.
Or you can go to our website. I think I said that, nerdthugradio.com.
Or you can just come to my house. I'll play it for you.
Facebook.com/nerdthugradio. Give us a like.
Yeah.
And we interact very often with you guys.
Subscribe to the iTunes.
Subscribe to the iTunes.
If you have
Make sure you leave us a rating.
Yes,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
please.
I don't think we're in that point yet.
I don't know.
Who
We
knows?
should.
Who
If
knows?
we have it.
Who knows? I mean, we've done 49 episodes. Insane.
God, that's a lot of episodes.
Crazy. 49 weeks in a row. Been coming here on a Thursday.
And you know what? We've got a pretty happy fan following. Like I'm pretty happy with how we're doing. We're growing pretty good.
I know. I was telling Nico before the show started that Tuesday morning, if the podcast isn't up for our listeners that aren't in the Conroe area,
Right.
if it's not up, I'm getting like 10 text messages like, dude, where the heck's the podcast, man? Like,
That's awesome.
I'm driving into work. I got nothing to listen to. Like, this is Tuesday. You know what today is. I was like, okay, man, I'll get Nico on it. Trust me. We're working on it.
That's the worst is we got to wake up our troll.
Nah, he's getting really good at the podcast. The YouTube stuff we got to get worked on.
I know. And
YouTube's so awesome to watch because it's broken down into segments. So it's like 12 minutes of your time at a time.
segment, yeah.
So you can just listen to it. You don't even have to like watch it.
Yeah, watch it.
You can just play it in the background at work and listen to it, and then move on to the next one when you're ready.
Yeah, I agree. I like the 12-minute breakups like that. I think that's probably the most digestible format.
Right.
I've been listening to the podcast, and the only issue I have with listening to any not just ours, but any podcast, is there's like a sweet spot.
Yeah.
It's probably not good for me to say this out loud. I think maybe our show.
Don't sweet spot it.
Yeah, like we don't hit the sweet spot because of the length. You know, we're a 2-hour daily talk show.
Right.
So we're about an hour and 40 minutes. If
But
we
the
were
great
like
thing
if we
about-
were like 30 minutes and like micro topic,
I couldn't do 30 minutes.
I couldn't either. Like
we just did 15 minutes on 2 topics. We got so much more to talk about.
I know, and that's the thing is like I was thinking about it when I was listening to it because there's a financial one I like to listen to.
Yeah.
Where it's they don't have, she doesn't really have like a set time. I'm not gonna pimp her. Like she doesn't really have a set time. But most of the episodes are between 20 and 25 minutes, and that's kind of. But she only talks to one topic. She only talks to one person. That's the whole episode for that day. But she winds up having like 200 episodes.
Right, because they're doing 20-minute episodes. Like,
right, she probably crunches one out every day, probably.
The good thing about iTunes is, in the podcast app, is that when you pause it, it just picks you up.
Exactly.
So I do the same thing.
Like that.
And the fact that we cut everything 12 minutes, and so every 12 minutes you're getting a break and you're getting an ad. So sponsors, there's plenty of ad space. Want to partner up with Nerd Thug Radio? We do charity stuff as well. We are pretty active on social media. So I listen like 12 minutes. I get to the break, I pause it. And you got guys like Joe Rogan who do like 2.5-hour podcasts,
right?
And does like 3 a week.
Right.
Where does this guy find the time?
Well,
that's his job.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does more than just podcasting. I mean, UFC commentating. He does stand-up comedy.
But that's his like main gig. I'm assuming.
I don't know if it's his main gig.
But I mean, think of it. It's like
I think is what he does is if he's not commentating, he just goes to the gym, comes home, lights up a bowl, gets with his buddies, and they just talk.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
that's
but
all he does.
they're just it's just 2.5 hours and then they're done. They're like okay, cool, cut record, we're done.
Yeah, but he does it like 3 times a week.
But I think it's just I think Neil's right. I think it's just kind of him sitting around.
Right. Yeah.
Like you notice how like a lot of celebrities once they hit a certain point in their careers, all of a sudden they're always in shape and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden they have all this free time.
Yeah.
Like like Eminem, between albums 2 and 3, I mean, all of a sudden he turned into like the fiercest looking white rapper.
Well, he got off the pills.
No, that was before. That's even before drugs and all that. It was just because all of a sudden, now he had free time. He'd done the first album. It blew up. He did all his press, all his publicity.
Did a movie.
Did the second album. All of a sudden, their schedules kind of open up. And then these guys can sit around because now they make their schedules.
Right, which is why I've decided I'm just going to be fat for life.
Yeah, no,
I don't have no time. I have no time to go to the gym.
Yeah, so like Joe Rogan at this point in his career, like he has his UFC commitments, so he just builds a schedule around that.
Right.
He's like, okay, well,
he only does the ones he only does the big ones. He doesn't do those.
He doesn't do
small
little ones anymore.
No fight nights.
So then for fight nights, he can go do his stand-up special in town wherever the UFC is.
Or they do like a fight companion where him and his buddies watch the fight and they talk about it.
Right. And so then that just puts money in his pocket.
God, the life, man. Jeez. I wish I could do that.
Man, I was thinking about one day, like what it's going to be like 2 or 3 years from now when this is like the gig.
If it gets big.
I think we're on a great path.
So tell all your friends, share us to everybody you know, so we can hit big.
That's right. Well, I mean, we're on the path. Like I feel like we're
on the path.
We're growing at a good rate.
You're not going to explode instantly.
Right.
No,
And
no,
I feel pretty. Listen, every overnight success has been there for years, and it's the reality of it. Nobody actually.
That's a good saying. I like it.
Like nobody ever actually just makes the one song or the one
Right,
book,
no, they've been
hands it in. What do we say about Stranger Things? How many times did they turn that book in or turn in that script before it got?
Well, even that,
rejected.
like,
What 19
just
times?
artists. Like,
Yeah.
I read about Lady Gaga's history, how big she is. Like, she was like a good 5-year plan of building up before she
Right.
got to where she was.
Well, Madonna,
Yep.
I mean, is an
Yep,
icon,
yep,
and
yep,
she
yep.
struggled to find representation in the beginning. People were like, I don't get it.
What is this?
So to me, I think we're on a good path. I think 3 years from now, this is going to be, and like, what's it going to look like? I was kind of thinking about, and like, we could do whatever we want. So I was like, man, do a couple 30-minute shows every day. I'd like to do something political.
Of course you would want to do something
I really
political.
would. I would love to do something political.
That'll be the fall of Nerd Thug Radio.
No,
the
it
Corey
would-
political.
It would be on the side. It would be separate and on the side.
Wait, that guy? That's what he talks about? I'm not listening to Nerd Thug Radio. But that's what he's thinking about.
But like, and then also almost like, man, I would love to do like a John Oliver type thing. I love what John.
I just want to
Oliver,
do an R-rated show at nights.
I would love to do.
That's all I wanna
I'd
do.
love to do like Blue
I
on
want to
like
say
Friday
bad.
nights.
I want to say bad words.
Curse.
Yeah.
Tell Oliver dirty
Tell our
stories.
dirty stories.
I'd be all right with that. Like that'd be a good Friday night. Man, like those Friday night blocks where they talk, like they just have callers call in and they talk about just random stuff.
Yeah.
Time travel.
Yeah, I could
Vampires.
totally do that.
I would do that show. I would do that. I would do that show. I would do this show. I would do politics. Like you couldn't. I would make probably 5 to 12 podcasts a week. You couldn't stop me.
I'd be
What
doing
do
all
you
the
do? Podcast.
I
Everything.
podcast.
I'd be doing all
everything.
the media appearances. Corey DLG couldn't be here because he's podcasting.
He's podcasting.
He's on a 24-hour podcast binge.
I would literally
You'll soundproof your car and just record everything on your
Everywhere you
iPhone.
go.
I'd be podcasting.
Spiders.
Yeah. I'd
That's
be
a throwback.
podcasting about you going to the event.
Yeah.
I'd be podcasting that. So Joey's got an event today for Nerd Thug Radio. He's going to be at the Lowe's Cinema downtown. But like I don't like obviously like
With the senior citizens from Tomball.
like God forbid our schedule ever open up and
Oh,
and all of a sudden we can just do all of this.
Do
stuff.
whatever you want.
We do a HeroClix show.
Easy.
You know whose schedule's been super busy lately? James Gunn. That
Yeah,
guy
Yeah.
from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. He did the Belko experiment.
Okay.
That's him.
I'm excited about
And
that.
then he just announced today, or I guess today, that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a go. He's just ironing out the details, how he's involved. Like, how awesome is Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, 5 years ago, if you asked even the normal comic book reader who the Guardians were, they probably couldn't tell you. And now they're like the biggest movie stars on the planet.
So I'm gonna brag on myself here.
Do it.
Okay, you ready?
And I'm going to agree with you because I'm there with you.
Nico.
Yeah.
About 9 years ago, about 7 years ago now.
Yeah.
I handed you a 3-pack action figure kit, and I said these guys are going to be huge.
I remember that.
In
I
5
Did
or
we
6
pick that up
years.
at the first...
First Comic
who
Palooza
was
we
it?
went to
So 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
It was Star-Lord, Rocket, and Drax, I think?
Yes.
Drax with the little bitty Groot,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
Liberty Group. Yeah. God, man.
I sat there and I was like, I love this little tree guy.
Yeah.
Dude, this stuff was so good.
And I said these guys
Watch
are
out.
going to be huge,
Right.
huge.
And we were right.
Nailed it.
As soon as we found that stuff, I was like, man, these guys are so cool. I don't know why I don't read them much. Like,
Right.
we started reading them again. I started
Exactly.
reading all the issues and stuff. The next thing you know, they're making a movie 2 years later. I'm like, I've been reading this for 2 years.
And the comic book was really good. It was really good. The comic book was really, really good, and it had a good idea, because the name comes from an old concept that was 3,000 years in the future.
I know.
So just to be able to kind of turn it into
Hollywood.
something new this time around, yeah, Hollywood, yeah. So to be able
Charlie
to turn it
27.
there were so many weird ones back then.
Major Victory.
And then Talon,
Yeah.
the cat guy. What's going on there? Literally, they had all these different aliens, and then a cat person. He had a tail. He literally had a tail.
Well, there's cat people in space.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, exactly.
Cat guy.
With long hair,
But they've blown up. I mean, besides just
unitard.
the soundtrack to the first one helped.
Oh man.
Chris Pratt's comedic performance was amazing.
Well-
Going into it, did you think Chris Pratt could be Star-Lord?
I did, but only because, and I don't watch Community, but I had seen a couple episodes.
You are referring to Parks and Recreation,
Yes,
sir.
sorry, Parks and Recreation, and him and
Got it.
Audrey Page have this really
Aubrey
great,
Plaza?
Aubrey Plaza. Man, I'm off today.
What-
Horrible.
Who are these people?
They
Fire
had,
him.
they, had, they had this really great dynamic though, where they were
Yeah, no, but he's super funny, but he,
Yeah.
he didn't have the body build.
No,
for
he
it.
didn't.
And then they gave him the part, and all of a sudden, dude shows up like ripped like a mofo.
Well, they this is what's funny is both him and James Gunn very similarly. James Gunn turned down Guardians of the Galaxy at first. They
Okay.
said, "Hey, this is the next movie on our pitch plate here."
What you think?
What
What
do
you
you
think, James?
And he
Jimmy G.
he walked away completely and said, "That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of." And he said on the drive home, he was listening to the radio and the music was the music from that era. And all
Right.
of a sudden he had this idea for the mixtape, and the mixtape makes the movie. And all of a sudden,
Boom,
he
he's
had
in.
so like by that weekend he's begging Marvel Studios to let him make Guardians of the Galaxy.
I got it now. I got it.
So Chris Pratt, the same thing. They come to him and they say, "Hey, we think you could be Star-Lord," and he's again overweight, not in shape, and he's like, "Guys, I don't think I'm the guy."
Have you seen my abs?
yeah, he's
I
like,
haven't none.
don't
I
think so.
haven't none.
And they said, "Well, look, man, just talk to James, see what he says." So James Gunn and him talked. Chris Pratt walks away, calls back like a week later and says, "Listen, give me 6 months, and I will be Star-Lord." And then he shows up and he's in crazy shape and he's Star-Lord ready. But again, both of them at first were like, "This is not the project
then they
for
added-
me."
Not this
Well, when
one
they added,
guy.
Right.
was it Zoe Saldana plays
Zoe
Laura?
Saldana
Like, when
and,
they added her, I was like, dude, that's nailed it. Like she's
And
gonna.
Bautista.
And when they had Batista coming in as Drax, I was like, I don't know about this.
I don't know. I loved that. That to me made that. When they said Zoe Saldana, I was like, okay, she's kind of like the sci-fi girl.
Right.
She's in everything sci-fi.
Uh-huh.
And then you turn around and they say Bautista. I said, okay, they get it. Because Drax is a very one-dimensional,
Yeah.
just brutal
I'm a smash
guy.
thing.
But still, I didn't
Right.
like from seeing Dave Bautista in the WWE and trying to do promos and stuff. I was like, I don't even know if he could be one dimensional. Like he's just a meathead. But dude, he's actually a really, really good actor.
No, he
Like,
is.
he
He
is
is.
nailing it,
And
man.
you know what's funny is some of the wrestlers don't get enough credit when they transition.
No, they don't.
It's not an easy thing. And
It's not.
there's bad ones. Tyler Mane as Sabretooth,
Yeah.
terrible.
Horrible.
And then there's good ones. John Cena in the comedic roles like with Trainwreck.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bautista with Drax.
Not even to mention Dwayne the Rock Johnson. We're gonna
No, that's not. He's not. Those are two different people.
we're gonna take a break and jump out. We come back. We'll talk a little bit more comic book stuff. You're listening to the Nerd Thug Radio.
Hashtag talking nerdy to you.
Facebook.com/Nerd Thug Radio.